In tonight's edition of Business Live, recent banking sector reforms elevate the Bank of Ghana to win a prestigious Global Central Banking Award. We'll tell you more. Also, IMF forecast GDP growth rate of 0.9% for this year, lower than that of the World Bank, Fitch, and Bank of Ghana. Plus, today on the Joy Business Van, we visit the startup giving hope to Ghana's least explored floriculture industry. I'm Israelite. The details up in a moment. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, is making a case for more financial support for the country's donor partners to help deal with the impact of COVID-19. Dr. Addison disclosed this on Bloomberg News, where he was interviewed on the subject of managing the economy after the easing of the COVID-19 restrictions.
The impact of the shock in terms of the lockdown was what really surprised everybody, having to wake up and not be able to go to work because we are afraid we have to, in a sense, socially distance from everybody, and the implications of that for an economy which is dominated by an informal sector economy. That was a real shock to everybody. If you look at the impact of the crisis, the bulk of that has been on government expenditures. The government has had to roll out a lot of programs to support, the society and the economy in terms of mitigating the impact on households and businesses. We did get about $1 billion from the IMF. This is the rapid credit facility at the beginning of the year. But it is quite clear that we would need much more than that to be able to, in effect, neutralize the impact of the coronavirus. For us, we have a well-diversified economy. If you look at the impact on the balance of payments in 2020, other than oil, which has been impacted by the decline in crude oil prices, we have done relatively well with gold exports and cocoa. And therefore, we've been able to, hold steady the level of our gross international reserves. And the plan is to build more reserves this year by an additional 300 million and prepare for 2021, as you're saying, the difficulties of accessing the market in 2021. We will deal with that when we get there. Now, the decision is to do a 10 billion CD bond purchase. As you know, this coronavirus impact is unprecedented. This is a new territory. We all are trying to adapt to a situation which we have never seen before. And therefore, we would have to be very innovative in how we handle it. For now, the plan is to stick to the 10 billion. And we do not anticipate that in 2020 we would have to do more.
The Bank of Ghana has meanwhile been adjudged Central Bank of the Year in the prestigious Central Banking Awards. The Bank of Ghana beat off competition from more than 100 central banks that were reviewed by the awards committee. It is the highest award at the 7th edition of the Global Central Banking Awards that was held virtually. First, though, here is the citation accompanying the award presented by the Editor-in-Chief and Chairman of the Central Banking Awards, Chris Jeffrey.
Now we come to the award for Central Bank of the Year. Market, Central Bank's impressive record of achievement included a bold and brave effort to reform a poorly managed and significantly undercapitalized banking and microfinance sector. Improvements to bank and financial stability oversight have coincided with this central bank gaining a much firmer grip on inflation, launching new currency denominations, and improving its communications via a new website. Central Banking's Central Bank of the Year is Bank of Ghana.
The Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, in response, dedicated the award to the staff of the bank.
Members of the Central Banking team, fellow award recipients, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, It is a great privilege for the Bank of Ghana to be named the Central Bank of the Year, and I thank the team of the Central Banking for the honor done us. This award reflects our vision to build a central bank of excellence that is well respected by stakeholders and further strengthens our resolve to continue to implement sound monetary and financial policies. The successful execution of our monetary policy and financial sector reforms and subsequent turnaround in the economy, which this award duly recognizes, has been due to the hard work of the whole Bank of Ghana team, comprising the board, management, and staff. Let me mention the support I got from my very able and efficient deputies and heads of departments. The bank also received invaluable support from the Monetary Policy Committee and other key collaborative institutions, including the Ministry of Finance and the Economic Management team in the pursuit of its policies and programs. It is fair to say that the 3 years of policy reform has firmly positioned Ghana's economy to withstand the headwinds arising from the COVID-19 pandemic. Tight monetary policy stance helped reduce inflation significantly and maintained in single digits and well within the bank's target range and a well-anchored exchange rate. We also successfully concluded 3 years of banking sector reforms, which saw an increase in minimum capital requirements, cleaned up of the financial sector by the revocation of licenses of weak and insolvent institutions, and a revamp of the regulatory framework to stabilize and strengthen the sector. Our banks are now well capitalized, liquid, solvent, and resilient to liquidity and credit risk, and well positioned to support Ghana's economic growth agenda. On this note, and with humility and profound gratitude, I accept this award on behalf of the board, management, and staff of the Bank of Ghana. Thank you all for sharing in the vision to ensuring macroeconomic stability and establish a stable, sound, and efficient banking sector to support the country's growth and development agenda. I am hopeful that we will continue on this path and consolidate the far-reaching gains of macroeconomic and financial stability in Ghana. Thank you.
Global Central Banking Award saw former Bank of England Governor Mark Carney emerge the Central Bank Governor of the Year. In all, 25 persons and institutions were awarded for their excellence and distinguishing themselves in their various fields. The International Monetary Fund is forecasting a gross domestic product growth rate of 0.9% for this year. This is a disclosure from its latest World Economic Outlook report. Charles Nixon-Yeboah has been looking through the report and has more.
The forecast is slightly below the ones being projected by the World Bank, Fitch Solutions, and the Bank of Ghana. Whilst the World Bank is predicting a GDP growth rate that will make the country a top performer in sub-Saharan Africa, Fitch Solutions is predicting a GDP growth rate of 1.3%, also making Ghana an outperformer in the sub-Saharan African region. However, the fund is forecasting a GDP of 4.2% for next year, and that will come as a good omen for government, enterprises, and consumers as tax revenue, earnings of companies, and disposable income are expected to shoot up. The reason is due to an expected significant jump in economic activities that will stimulate demand and supply. With the exception of Ivory Coast, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania, the country will outperform 46 sub-Saharan African countries. Growth on the continent will, however, contract by 3%, with both South Africa and Nigeria recording huge negative growth rates.
It has been urged to leverage technology in the quest to reach a digitized economy. According to the latest World Bank African Pulse report, expanding digital infrastructure and making connectivity affordable, reliable and universal holds the key for more inclusive jobs. Nicholas Brown breaks it down in the following report.
It is no surprise that most African countries will emerge from the COVID-19 crisis with large budget deficits. The World Bank's report indicates that fiscal deficits in the region will widen on average of 3.5 percentage points of GDP in 2020. However, creating more better and inclusive jobs can be achieved through digital transformation, sectorial reallocation and spatial integration. Here in Ghana, the government has taken steps to formalize the Ghanaian economy through the use of technological innovations such as paperless POT system, mobile money interoperability system, national identification card, among a host of others, to address some of the structural and institutional weaknesses. But the move to digitize Ghana's economy had not been without challenges, especially in the space of the past 22 months. The challenges include digital infrastructure gaps, affordability of devices and services, and digital literacy. Despite these challenges, Ghana's effort to digitize the economy has not gone unnoticed, as the Center for Global Finance at the School of African and Oriental Studies at the University of London described government's decision to create and adopt technology in its bid to formalize the Ghanaian economy as apt and courageous. Nicholas Brown for Joy Business.
MTN Ghana says it has so far invested about $2.5 billion into its monitoring system to safeguard mobile money transactions. The telecoms operator says it is also sensitizing its customers on mobile money fraud. Speaking with Joy Business at a National Cyber Security Awareness Program on the theme Cybersecurity in the Era of COVID-19, Senior Manager for Compliance at MTN Ghana, Kwame Tamaklo, said the investment shows his outfit's commitment to ensuring mobile money is safe and secure. There's more in the following report.
Senior Manager for Compliance at MTN Ghana, Kwame Tamaklo, explains to Joy Business that the public must be conscientized on the operations of mobile money fraudsters.
We are doing what we can within the circumstances. A lot of investment has been put into educating people across the country. We are all over the channels, the digital channels. We are on air, and then we are on the grounds in various villages across the country where our sales team are engaging people and educating them on mobile money fraud. What we are also doing in terms of technical side to ensure that we are enhancing our monitoring system of the transactions on our platform. And so there again, about $2.5 million investment is being made to secure that platform.
Meanwhile, acting head of technical operations at E-Crime Bureau, Eric Mensah, says one major thing stakeholders are doing is to educate the public to protect themselves.
We have seen that a lot of the things that the criminals are doing, or the modus operandi that the criminals are using, is based on social engineering. So right now, the major thing that we want to focus, and stakeholders focus on is to educate, because sometimes you have fraud hit person A, that same fraud hits person B, same fraud hits person C. It is really important that when person A gets defrauded, that fraud scheme is reported to the appropriate entities, be the Cybersecurity Center, the MTN, Vodafone Cash, or whatever, and then alerts will be made so that people will be actually conscientized on what is happening so that they can protect themselves.
The head of research and communications at the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, Derek Lai, said collaboration among stakeholders will help protect customers.
The trend continues to grow because the service is growing. So if you've done a bit of research on how the service operates, the more and more people get to use the service, the more and more fraudsters equally grow to want to hoodwink customers, use false representation and stuff like that, to be able to use social engineering antiques to be able to hoodwink customers and take money from them. So I believe that we've done a lot. I believe from the service side, we've done a lot with regards to introducing the right kind of system frameworks, privacy by design technologies, AI and the rest, to be able to safeguard the consumers and vulnerabilities from our side. But more importantly, from the customer side, there's a lot of education that needs to happen. Also on the stakeholder side, there's a lot of collaboration that we need to do, because we have regulation, but regulation in and of itself is very prescriptive. It wants to prevent the fraud from happening, but when the fraud happens, regulation is lagging. So we need a lot of collaboration among stakeholders, the banks, the telcos, coming together to ensure that we can, across a wide spectrum, protect the consumer, so that when there's vulnerability, before it becomes a viable vulnerability or an opportunity for fraud to happen, we probably will be able to tackle it quickly before it happens.
Mildred Dodu's reports for Joy Business.
Now, as we look to diversify our economy, one of the least explored industries is floriculture. Despite the high demand for tropical catflies around the world, Ghana still lags behind in exports and is losing out on millions of dollars in revenue. There's still maybe some hope. Startups like Pure Bloom's Garden Center are poised to make a difference. That's where the Joy Business Fund is today.
Lush greenery interspersed with colorful flowers, complemented by beautiful architecture. We had seen pictures of Pure Bloom's Garden Center, and we wanted to experience the relaxing atmosphere. We're getting closer to the plant lovers' paradise at Tema.
Hello, welcome to Pure Bloom's Garden Center.
Thank you. Pure Blooms. I'll see beautiful flowers.
Sure.
Cecilia Opoku is hosting me. Her mom created this paradise.
Pure Bloom started off from home. My mom is a lover of flowers, so she used to buy plenty flowers. But it got to a time we couldn't contain them in the house. So we have to get a place and move them. So then we got this place.
Here's why the decision to commercialize is a big step. The worldwide market for flower and ornamental plants is worth $42.4 billion. That is expected to grow roughly by 6.3% in the next 4 years to reach $57.4 billion. Kenya and Ethiopia are Africa's leading flower-growing countries. Flower exports add about $1 billion annually to the Kenyan economy, for instance, while Ghana is doing a few millions. Pure Blooms is one of the businesses in the industry hoping to capitalize on the gap, and they've started with the local market. This is Calathea, but this is not local, right?
No, this is exotic one.
Okay.
Right. But this one, they are from here. Peperomia is a local one. Yes, please. And then the Green Beauty is also local.
Green Beauty.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Nice. Cecilia takes me on a tour of the garden, where there is variety of colorful flowers housed in a very beautiful architecture. Most of the plants here are locally grown, but there are quite a number of imported ones from the Netherlands, the world's leading producer of flowers, and Thailand. I'm getting my own education too. Pachypodium,
Anthurium, and the Pala palm.
Pala palm. I'm a good student. But which is the most patronized?
The
one that people buy.
The Anthurium people like, and then the hydrangea. These are the hydrangeas. That one too, people like it.
Pure Blooms set up here a couple of months ago, and patronage has been encouraging, Cecilia tells me. This perception that to be able to afford flowers like these, you've got to be really rich, but that may not be true, because with as little as 20 cedis you can afford the Sansevieria, and if you want the red lipstick palm, that is going for 1,200 Ghana cedis. So it really depends. The cost of a flower largely depends on whether or not it is local or imported. And seeing that flowers are perishable, it can be quite challenging to grow them.
It's not easy. Sometimes you can sow 1,000 seeds and then you get like 300. But after getting the 300 to those that will come, if you don't take care of them well, some too will die. Then so it's not easy, but we are trying to, get more plants than the local ones. The local ones, we have some that we propagate them ourselves.
To increase yield, Cecilia talks to me about plans to invest in a greenhouse facility.
We want to do it such a way, or the automatic one, yes, where we grow seeds and then we'll be able to, those that don't like sun, where we get proper place to keep them, and then those that like sun too, we know where to place them. So it will be a proper greenhouse, full greenhouse, that when you grow seeds, the germination rate will be high as compared to what we are doing as of now.
Pure Blooms was opened in August when the COVID-19 pandemic was still rife. Social media has been very useful in marketing the plants. Good timing, you would say, when most people were at home and would appreciate the comfort of nature. Currently, there are only a few companies that export our local flowers. It's the other target for Pure Blooms. And if you're still wondering why you need some flowers at your home, well, listen to what Cecilia says.
When you are in a serene environment, you feel good. You feel good, even if you are thinking of something, because of the environment you find yourself in. You feel better as compared to being at a place where there is nothing to look at.
There's plenty to look at and marvel about when you visit Pure Blooms.
All right, so let's talk about that you need before you can bring in Pure Blooms. The Ghana Real Estate Developers Association says Ghana's housing deficit has worsened over the years. According to GRED, a national housing consensus conducted pointed out that the housing deficit, which stood at 1.7 million housing units in 2010, has increased to over 2 million housing units last year. Speaking with Joy Business's Emma Davis, Samuel Amegaibo called on the government to reduce taxes on housing development to enable the average Ghanaian purchase a house with a mortgage.
Unfortunately, the deficit is worsening by the day. I remember in 2010 when UN Habitat, and then at that same time we had a national housing census conducted. So the two data combined together, they were able to determine that our housing deficit was 1.7 million at that time. And if you look at how much we needed over 10-year period, vis-a-vis what we are able to supply on the market, we realized that there was a big shortfall. And so adding on from that time, that is why we were able to say that as of last year or so, we then said that the deficit has gone up from the 1.7 million to over 2 million. And so we haven't done very well to overcome it, but we as private estate developers like Greda, we are working in a very harsh environment, and so we are doing our best. But when it comes to affordable housing, there has to be commitment from government to make it possible.
Based on our income level, how would you describe the flexibility? What's the flexibility level in acquiring, a house?
Well, you've touched a very important aspect of why we are having a challenge, because the general earnings of Ghanaians is very low. And so if you look at the various mortgage products that we have on the market, it only favors those who are in the upper bracket. And so if you had listened to the conversation we had on Joy FM, for example, you realize that Republic Bank was saying that the government housing mortgage that has been launched, for example, which is going for 11.9% with them, vis-a-vis what the general market is at 24%, it is targeted at the private sector. Now, if it is targeted at the private sector, who in the private sector can access it, even though it is a cheaper one that government has initiated? He said those who are earning beyond 3 million are those, 3,000, Ghana cedis, are those who can access up to about 150,000 Ghana cedis. Then the question is, how many of us get that salary of 3,000 Ghana cedis? So that alone is a problem. And so if we don't do something about the measures that will ultimately bring the cost of house down, or certain mitigating measures from the part of government to remove costs from the developer, I think we will just be talking and nothing good will come out of it.
Well, and for your information, the mini clinic of the much anticipated JoyNews Habitat Fair is this Saturday and Sunday, so do make it. That'll be all for Business Live. I'm Mr. Live. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening, and do tune in to JoyNews Prime, which is about an hour and a half away.